right. What I'm going to do is an update on the HR5 bill that has passed the passed legislation. Now it's into the Senate waiting to be passed. I'm going to give an update on this. This segment of the show will be cut out and put into the HR5 segment or section of the website. I'm going to give a basic understanding here so I can run through this. Pay attention because there's going to be, I'm going to cover a lot of ground here, but this is worth it. This is the basic HR5 wording. This bill prohibits discrimination based on sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity in a wide variety of areas, including public accommodations, facilities, education, federal funding, employment, housing credit, and jury system. Specifically, the bill defines and includes sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity among the prohibited categories of discrimination and segregation. The bill expands the definition of public accommodations to include places or establishments that provide exhibitions, recreation, exercise, amusement, gatherings or displays, goods, services, or programs, transportation services. This bill allows the Department of Justice to intervene in equal protection actions in federal court on account of sexual orientation or gender identity. Now listen. Protections against discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin shall include protections against discrimination based on an association with another person who is a member of such a protected class, or perception or belief, even if inaccurate, that an individual is a member of such a protected class. This bill prohibits the religious freedom. Now listen to this. This is going to be the real key here of what I'm talking about. This bill prohibits the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993 from providing a claim, defense, or basis for challenging such protections. The bill prohibits an individual from being denied access to a shared facility, including a restroom, a locker room, and a dressing room that is in accordance with the individual's gender identity. In that wording, they mention the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993. That act is a 1993 United States federal law that ensures that interests in religious freedom are protected. The act states that the government shall not substantially burden a person's exercise of religion, even if the burden results from rule of general applicability. That means that we have religious freedom, and if our religious freedom does not entail an LGBTQ to come in and use restrooms or be a part of our religious service, we have the right to say that based on our religion. Though in the wording of the HR5 bill, it says the bill prohibits this act from providing a claim, defense, or basis based on challenging such protections. We're done with that. So, and so I'm going to read, this is, hold up here. There's a Congressman, Bob Latta of Ohio, that this is what he has to say. He opposed the bill by saying, this legislation lacked protections for free speech, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, and parental rights. Among the most egregious components is the explicit exclusion of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, leaving churches, synagogues, mosques, and other places of worship subject to regulations prohibiting practices central to their religious identities. This goes against our country's foundational values, and I couldn't support it. And so moving on to the next issue here, my issue on all this is, as we know, when I have an article or whatever, it's got to do with the difference between privacy and public, and this all makes things that are private public. And the biggest issue to me is public toilet legislation. Well, why in the world do our lawmakers have to deal with public toilet legislation? Now listen to this. This is under Transgender Rights Movement in Wikipedia. In the United States, the bathroom bill issue first came into public attention in 2013 when the Civil Rights Division ruled in favor of the transgender 6-year-old student Coy Mathis' right to use the girls' toilet at her elementary school in Fountain. By the way, I put her. When this law is passed, I won't even be able to say that. In the wake of the Mathis case, numerous states have put forth or passed legislation which obligates transgender people to use the public bathroom corresponding to their sex as assigned at birth. As of July 2017, 16 states have considered such bills, and one state, North Carolina, passed its bill into law. The North Carolina House Bill 2, or HB 2, was passed into law in February 2017. HB 2 quickly garnered attention as the first law of its kind and sparked high-profile condemnation. That means what they're saying is that you cannot use a bathroom except by what is given you as a gender at birth, and if you want to challenge it, you have to show your birth certificate. Well, they put it out. They passed it and then they took it out. So this is the Public Facilities Privacy and Security Act, HB 2. That's what this says. The bill amended state law to preempt any anti-discrimination ordinances passed by local communities and compelled schools and public facilities containing single-gender washrooms to only allow people of the corresponding birth certificate sex to use them. The bill generated immense criticism for preventing transgender people who did not or could not alter their birth certificates from using the restroom consistent with their gender. In North Carolina, only people who undergo sex reassignment surgery can change the sex on their birth certificates. Opponents of the bill described it as the most anti-LGBTQ legislation in the United States, which proponents of HB 2 called it common sense legislation. It's just common sense. In other words, if you're a boy, you use the men's room. If you're a girl, you use the women's room. It's just common sense legislation. So, going on, this is what I really want to get at here, and I actually wish that I had this where you can see it, but I'll just play it because I think you're going to be able to okay, I want to play. This is a lady by the name of Lindsay Shepard. And if Joe is putting the link in there, I have to pre-warn you heavily that there are words used in this. She is anti LGBTQ legislation, and she has some amazing things. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Sorry, I hit the wrong one there. I want you to hear what she has to say based on this, if you'll be able to hear it.
So when it comes to trans people, they are untouchable. They are beyond criticism, beyond questioning, and you are not allowed to stand up for yourself against them. And sometimes the comment comes up like, why are you so focused on trans issues? And it's because, unfortunately, trans activism is one of the major hindrances to free speech and open inquiry in this country, if not the number one hindrance. Trans activism is responsible for silencing and stifling so many discussions that we need to have in our society.
What happened is that Lindsay on Twitter spoke against a very, 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 very famous Canadian trans, and she spoke against this person who has never gone through the surgery, has never become a woman. It is a man. And because she called him a sad fat man on Twitter, she got banned. Now, what this man, trans man, said was, he says words that only men would say about women's, private parts and things like that. And the man's name is actually Jonathan Yaniv. I don't know if anybody's ever heard this name, but I guess he's pretty well known all over the United States and Canada, and he is a pedophile. And that is the point I'm getting across today, is this man actually goes into women's bathrooms, and he waits. He knows where there's like a school meeting somewhere where there's 12 to 14-year-old girls, and he will go into the women's bathroom where these 12 to 14-year-old girls and talk to them about their period and all this stuff, and offer to help teach them about all this kind of stuff. And what my point on everything I'm trying to bring out today is, when we did the HR5 conference, we talked about pedophiles, and it's like, well, they're not a part of transgender or sexual identity. Yes, they are. All you have to do is say that you are. Remember, in the wording of the HR5 bill, it says a perception or belief, even if it's inaccurate, that an individual is a member of such a protected class. That would give the legal right for anybody, any man, to go into a woman's bathroom and do whatever they want to do. The legal right. They can talk to the girls. They can do whatever they want to do. Dress up a woman like this guy does, and go in there and act like a woman. The little girl, 12-year-old girl, not real sure that it's not a woman or not. I mean, you look at this, his webpage or whatever. It's a webpage that somebody else put together. It's not his webpage. That I think. Did you put that one in there, Joe? Okay. So there you go. That's my report. I'm sorry it was so long, but I'm trying to get that point across. So it's yours, Sandy.
Well, I'm going to run over to Joe and let her give a couple minute comment on it and what you think.
Well, first of all, if you haven't seen the HR5 conference that Lamb Radio put out, you can go to messianiclambradio.com, scroll down to the bottom, and you will find the HR conference videos and watch those and be informed, and I think it's just really crazy. Why does a man need to go into a girl's I mean, we kind of know, but that's where you go, and you go to the bathroom. That's just, it's nasty. I'm sorry. That's all I can say is it's nasty.
It is nasty. And it's ridiculous that legislation like this is going on. It disappointed me when it said North Carolina passed something to help protect, and then they rescinded it. That bothers me. Come on, states, let's get it right. Yeah, you are what you're born with. But unfortunately now some places are making it illegal to assign birth at birth, or to assign sex at birth. So then that opens a whole nother can of worms. Sherry.
Well, the word says that when we continue to reject God, we'll be given strong delusion.
Oh.
This is strong delusion. When you can't figure out which one is a girl and which one is a boy, that's strong delusion. I mean, the word is true. And it's like, are people nuts? Are they nuts?
Well, you know? It's demonic.
My son Daniel, one quick thing. Daniel had a really good point several months back when this all started happening. He said, Mom, people that really identify as a woman, like say a man identifies, he said, they're already quietly going into the women's bathroom and going there. You don't know about them. They're not in there doing what this guy's doing. You know, I can't say what I really like to say.
No, I don't think, I do not even want to go to a public facility right now. I have no desire. If I can avoid it at all costs, I will, because it's just sick. And the only way, we've got to pray, but come on, people, we've got to raise our voice. And the reason the trans community, the LGBTQ community, is that they get their way because they're so loud, they're so vocal, they push their way, and we need to stand up too. And we need to pray. We need to have our armor on. We need to let our opinion be known. Man, unfortunately, they don't want our opinion to be known, because then they say it's hate speech. But
yeah, protect our children. Don't let your child go into the bathroom alone. In 19, I'm not going to say what, we were in Disneyland, and my brother went into the bathroom, and he was kind of cornered by a homosexual man, and my dad had to run into the bathroom because he heard my brother screaming, Dad, help me. And my dad got escorted off of Disneyland's premises because the guy.
Why would your dad be escorted off? It should have been the perpetrator.
Exactly, but my dad the guy was pretty broken up, if you catch what I mean. So yeah, protect your kids, because our kids are our treasure, and this is affecting us as adults, but it's affecting the children, and we need to protect our children.
It affects everything. I remember even back in the 70s, there's been evil that was rooted even back then. I remember that there's a Wonderland Park is here in Amarillo, Texas. It's a big amusement park. Six Flags now owns it. But one of the things when I was a kid, my mom wouldn't let any of us go to the bathroom, my brother, my sister, myself, on our own, because a young boy, a man attacked him and cut his business off right there in the bathrooms there at Wonderland Park. We need to protect our kids.
Well, I think what scares me, and this is the biggest issue, if I don't do anything else for the rest of my life, it is making known to the churches and synagogues, like that one congressman said, it actually takes away your rights, Sandi. As a leader of a Messianic synagogue, congregation, church, the bill literally takes away your right.
It does. And then what do you do? Even if you're in your home, I will tell you, they will try to reach as far as that.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Eventually, there's 29% chance this is going to go through the Senate. But they've done this so many times that what they'll start doing is breaking it up into sections and passing the bill as different sections. And they'll get it all passed eventually. I mean, I'm not confessing that. I'm against that, But anyway, there you go. I hope this was a good update for everybody.
It was.
And you know, First Amendment, because I got in there against our religious rights, says, you know, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, if they got it passed and we have just judges on the Supreme Court, they should overturn that law.
That's true, but when you put people that believe in a living, growing Constitution that on the Supreme Court and all the other levels of court, then they redefine or make null and void our
That's
original documents.
Mm-hmm.
We lost Joe.
We lost Joe. Well, I want to thank you so much, Mark. This is something people need to be mindful of. And if you haven't heard anything, do go to the Messianic Lamb Radio website, listen up, catch up, listen to the conference, find out the truth, and then use your voice. I want to thank you so much for bringing that out. And it's something we could probably discuss for the next hour. We did that, didn't we? But you're right. It's infringing on your rights. Come on, people, wake up.